Welcome to the Alpine Church of Spiritual Living this morning. On this March 13th, I'm going to be reading the Thought for the Week, All Things New, and those here in the room can join me as I get down to the bottom for the part that's in the bold. As we ready ourselves for this new season of spring, let's approach it with an open mind and an open heart. In order to do that, we must be willing to let go of the old and with joyous expectancy be open to accept the new. Isaiah 43:19 states, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and a river in the desert." Further in Isaiah, it states, "For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former thing shall not be remembered or come into mind." There is something about human nature that tends to want to cling to the way things are or the way things were. This, however, is not the way of the divine. Humankind is made in the image and likeness of God. Ephesians 4:24 states, "And to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God in true righteousness and holiness." We are being told time and time again to go forth from limitation and the perception of separation to that of being at one with our source and substance. It is up to each of us to align our individual self with the wholeness of our true holy self. No one can do it for us. Why not begin once again this very day to shed the old self and consciously step into the fullness of the river of life? Be willing to let go of those thoughts and feelings that weigh you down. What good are they? What divine purpose do they serve? Yes, our egoic mind might talk us into thinking that by making ourselves small or big, that we receive a payoff, but that is far from the truth. When we know and experience our oneness with the One, we are humble, teachable, giving, free, and at peace. Vow to never let anyone or any experience shut down your heart. Remain in love's embrace no matter what befalls you. As you do, the old will pass away and a new life beyond your wildest imagination will spring forth. Say with me, "I step into this new day, into a new life, accepting the holiness in which I dwell. The past is in the past, and I lovingly let it go to experience life itself in all its glory." And it is so. Well, first of all, I just want to congratulate all of you in being here today. Since here in California, we got to spring forward to our daylight savings time last night. So now be kind to anyone who walks in that door in about 45 minutes from now. Isn't this a beautiful day? Oh my gosh, I mean, spring is totally in the air. It's just gorgeous. I've been working on getting Burke's garden ready, getting all the weeds out of it and going through the plants, the seeds that he has, and seeing what we're going to plant there. So I know that this is a day of expectancy, of joy, and on holiness. I'd like us to really think and consider about those words in the Thought for the Week, to recognize that we are all, each, this divine being in expression and in action. I want to share with you a little story that happened to me, and because I think that it does have an aha to it that at first might not be recognizable, but I believe that it is a very valuable lesson. Yesterday, Becky and I took Adeline to see her first play. It was in Balboa Park. It was Jungle Book. And she's 3 7/8. She'll be 4 on April 10th. So she's coming up. So it was her first play. And there were some things you had to go through in order to qualify to go to this live performance. You had to either be vaccinated or you had to show proof of a negative test, a COVID test, and not just a home test. It had to be one from a pharmacy. And so I thought, I can do that. I didn't have the vaccination card, so I'll do that test thing and no problem and whatnot. So to keep a long story short, I got all that done, and the test takes a couple days to get back to you. And I got the response on my phone that said, yes, you're going to get your response back by Saturday at 9 p.m. Yeah. Well, the play was at 2 p.m. And so I realized that this is a beautiful opportunity to take advantage of practicing what we have been reading about. You just got these books last week, most of you, but if you haven't gotten your Letting Go book by David Hawkins, please pick your copy up today. So we've been practicing letting go and just accepting what is and being okay with it. And so I did. I thought, if I don't go to the play, it's fine. I'll give Lindsay, Adelyn's mother, my ticket, and it'll be fine. Well, as it turns out, I got my negative response on Friday night. So, cha-ching, check that off. I can go. So then I picked her up. They live, sorry to say Burke and Lindsay, but Lindsay and Adelyn live in North Park. So it's about a 10-minute drive from their house to Balboa Park. But there's a lot going on at Balboa Park on the weekends. So I picked her up. I got there at 12:30. We left her house at 12:38 to drive to get a parking place. And the people at the theater, they sent out an email saying, you might want to park in the zoo, which is right next door, because there's 2 events going on in the park. Well, the zoo just opened up their Young Explorers section, which is the new children's zoo, on Friday. Yeah, it opened on Friday. So Saturday's the first day of the new children's zoo opening. So sure enough, I went through and I went through the park, the zoo, and of course, initially I called in the parking angels. Come on, parking angels, you're on duty. We go through the zoo, nothing. So then we go into Balboa Park. I went through 4 lots of Balboa Park. Nothing. Now I find myself on the road to go back out onto the street. I turn left, and then I have this wonderful idea. Hey, shoot, it's now 1:10. We have enough time. We can drive back to Lindsay's and ask her to just drop us off. We don't even have to have a parking place. And so I get on my phone on my car, with a Bluetooth thingy, and I'm calling her. She answers. And at this point, I'm at a stoplight. And I pull away, and I'm talking to her about maybe going back to her house. And Becky says, "Stop! That guy's pulling out." So I stopped, and the guy pulled out. I pulled in. I said, "Thank you so much, parking angels. This is perfect." I did not know at that moment how perfect it was. Because just as I parked and skinnied into this tiny little, I'm so grateful for backup cameras, I'll tell you. Adelyn says, "My tummy doesn't feel good." Adelyn has a propensity to be carsick. So I got the car parked, got out, went around, got her thing undone, got her out of the car. It was less than a minute. She's standing there, up-chucking everything. Up-chuck. Now, this isn't a sidewalk there as you park on the street on Park Ave Boulevard. It's dirt. And so, other than a little splashing on the shoes, it was a clean, shot right down onto the ground. And we got that cleaned up and everything, and we're then taking a walk toward the park, and I thought, wow, the parking angels really were on duty. At one moment I was thinking, come on, parking angels, where are you? How come I'm not getting a spot right here, where I want to claim it to be, close to the theater? Well, if I parked in the parking lots close to the theater, there would have been a pretty nice stinky mess on a sidewalk area somewhere in the park. But no, it was right out there, and just no big deal. And I thought, wow, I just had to say thank you, thank you. You guys knew what was going on. You knew that it had to take me that long to get where I was going, and the perfect timing for her to need to do her thing right where she did. And so I want you to think about it, because I started to tell this story to a friend, and they're going, I don't need to hear another angel parking story, parking lot story. I don't need to hear that. But there is a lesson here. What is the lesson? The lesson is to ask and to keep having the faith that even though you can't see what is going on, there is a divine right order and a divine right perfection running through everything. Those parking angels were doing their job, unbeknownst to me, and I was so grateful for them. I was just shouting their praises all the way to theater. We got in the theater, we sat down 15 minutes before, the show, and it was fabulous. So our topic this morning is called All Things New. Life is ever evolving. We are to let go of the past and to keep moving into the new. As I wrote in the thought for the week, there are several Bible passages that refer to this, that we are made in the image and likeness of God. And so to put on the new self, which is created in righteousness and in holiness, so that we are made in that same image, that we need to recognize that, honor that, know that we and everyone and everything is holy. I love that country song. I don't remember who sang it, but everything is holy now. It is just such a wonderful position and mindset to be in, that everything is holy. Even though you may not see it at the moment, remember the parking angels. They are on duty if you ask. And I'm not saying that there won't be dark nights of the soul. I'm not saying that everything is going to be pretty, that is what life will be. No, it won't be that way, because we are living in this human experience where there are ups and downs, ebbs and flows. But to keep our minds set on the realization and the acceptance that there is a divine thread running through everything, I think really helps us. If you I told you you've gotten the Letting Go books that our church has providing for everyone here with the funds from Wes Barrett's estate. So everybody take that book, and a Lenten book as well is back there. But I just ordered 30 copies of Eileen Cady's book, Opening Doors Within. And I referred to this many times. In fact, I've got a reading from hers today that I wanted to share that I just thought was so appropriate. So each of you will be getting one of these books as well. In the next week or two, they'll be shipping to us. And it's a daily read, and of course, as you know, this is a channeled type of message that she brings, and so this is God speaking to us. So I'd like you to hear what her message is today. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. A snake cannot grow without shedding its old skin. A baby chick cannot emerge from its shell without cracking it open. Those are things that aren't easy to do, I mean, there are times when we're going to have some consternation in our lives. A baby cannot be born without emerging from its mother's womb. These natural processes have to come about to bring change. Step by step, they take place, and nothing can stop them. If the baby chick does not have the strength to burst out of its shell, it will die. There is a right time for everything. You can try to prevent changes taking place because you feel safe and secure where you are and would rather stay in the confines of that which you know rather than move out into the unknown. But in those confines, you will suffocate and die. Try to understand and accept the need to change with everything that is taking place at this time. Lift up your heart and give thanks for these changes and become part of them. As I was reading this, this is March 13th. Today is our founding minister, Reverend Pauline Beauregard's birthday. She was born on March 13th, and if she was still on the earth plane today, she would be 102 years old. But she passed in 2013, so she had a long life. And I think it's important to honor and recognize and value our past and our ancestors. Thich Nhat Hanh, when we were reading A Living Buddha, Living Christ here, this last book club, brought up the fact that in the Eastern traditions that they have in their homes like an altar, and that they go to that and they talk to their ancestors to give them information as to when a new baby's being born or if there's a wedding, or so they bring forth and the remembrance and the energy of these past souls into their lives. And he was talking about the fact that that really helps give a family unit a foundation, a roots, so to speak, and that children today, many of them are lacking that. They don't have that foundation to draw from, and that it's important for us to remember our roots, to honor them, because otherwise, we can just be distracted and scattered to the winds by all of the events that hit us day in and day out. So it's something to consider, to look for that life gives us anchors. There are times when we will be in sadness, and there are times that we are in joy. But to remember that through the eons, through all the changes, through all the past, through all the present, through all the futures, there is one life. One life that is living itself. I've been participating in Martha Creek's grieving class that's taking place online. And her question to her class last time was, what do you do to stop from being overwhelmed by sadness in whatever the grief is that you're going through? And so she gave us an opportunity in the chat to type in what our responses were. And mine was that, for me, grace shows up. When I am missing Burke so much, I automatically get this voice in my head saying, there is one life. And at other times it says, I am with you always. And that is comforting. To me, that is Spirit's voice speaking to me, remembering to remember that this life is eternal, that this life doesn't end with our experience here on this earth plane, that there is one life and it is living us. There was one sentence in the Thought for the Week that I wanted to highlight, and it's a Michael Singer quote. And it says, vow to never let anyone or any experience shut down your heart. And you do that by acceptance. You do that by allowing life to bring to you what it brings and accepting it. Not trying to fight it, not trying to deny it, not trying to look otherwise. And there's an example, and it's a very simple one, but let's say you have a crack in your windshield. Well, there is a crack in the windshield. All the hoping, all this naysaying of, darn it, that truck that was in front of me should be paying for this, or that, or the other thing, and all the different responses you can have, the windshield will still have a crack in it until you accept it and do something about it. There are other deeper soul irritations that we go through. Because when I think about Burke, and I think about, he is no longer on this earth plane. But my head and my mind can go through, he was too young. It shouldn't have happened. They should have done the surgery right away. Why did he go home that night? All of these things. Do those help? No, it doesn't change the situation. Acceptance allows me to move forward and not live in the what ifs, what if the should haves or shouldn't haves being. Because that is done. We're here to live this life in this moment, leaving our heart open to all the gifts that Spirit has to give us. And to me, it is a joyous one, that this life that God gives us is one of tranquility, certainty. When you seep into that acceptance that life is here for me, that love is here for me, and that I am not separated from anyone or anything, that I am this love and expression. I'm reminded of our closing prayer that we say here in church every Sunday, our oneness prayer. There is one mind, the mind of God, and this mind thinks through me each and every moment. There is one heart, the heart of God, and this heart loves as me each and every moment. There is one life, the life of God, and this life lives as me each and every moment. God is and I am, and wherever I am, God is and all is well, for only God is here. Only God is here to support us, to love us, to encourage us, to push us out of the shell of that tiny egg, or whatever the other analogy that you want to use, to give us more new, brand new life. We are here to do that. Life is for us. Let's live it in joy. Let's live it in acceptance with an open, beautiful heart. Happy, happy day. Namaste.